When I decided to hide that treasure chest, I knew exactly where I was going to go, where I was going to put it. It's in a place that's very dear to me, and I don't want to get too far into that because it'll give you a time frame, and that's a clue that I don't want to reveal. But there was never a second choice. There was never a second choice. I got to tell you, there's one thing I told you that I wish I had not. As you read it, look at the pictures and the drawings and
here we are, Fenn Rock.
Finally. Yes.
For our final farewell to the chase. So we got some guys fly fishing right over there in the hole with the fish, and because you've never crossed the Madison here before, what we're going to do, we're going to cross where Jack crossed. I don't know where Forrest crossed, but he did say in the shallow water below the hole. So we're going to, because I'm vertically challenged, I'm not Justin who's like 10 feet tall. So Tom, you and I, we're going to go down that way, and we're going to cross where I've been crossing.
Sure.
Every time I've crossed here, I always cross it, and I come out that big long log.
Sure.
It's out in the river.
Yep.
That's my destination.
Okay.
You're free to stay upstream from it.
Whatever
you want to do. If you want to be upstream from that, I do not mind. To me, the secret of crossing the Madison here is take your time.
Sure.
So I think it's so clear right now that you can see. But for me, I mean, a lot of people, they do this all the time. So anyone like Justin or any guy who ever fly fish, I mean, this is nothing to them. But to someone like me, I definitely want to be cautious.
And you've done it a bunch of times.
Yeah, and I've done it a lot, and so far so good.
Yep.
So I never fell in unless I wanted to. So let's see what happens.
Sure.
Let's hope that we can find Rudy's nook log. Well, the log's not there, but the nook. So.
Yep, sure.
Let's do it.
I've wanted to do this since April. We got snowed out, so yes, let's do it.
Here we are, September, I think today's the 10th, 2022.
Yep.
It's a gorgeous day. It was what, 25 degrees
25
this morning?
degrees this morning.
It's up to 60 degrees right now. Basically just barely a breeze at all. So this is the perfect culmination to, for me, 10 years in the chase.
Yep, you bet. And it's been a heck of a ride, and I'm glad I got along with most of it with you. So.
Okay, let's do it. You ready to do it? Let's
do it. Yes, I am.
Okay, Tom, let's go to Jack's oil tree.
Yep.
I didn't think we'd need waders. And right now I see the oil tree because I know what it looks like. Thanks to Rudy Green, who sent me Jack's picture way back in, I don't know, June or July 2021. And it was like, holy crap, I walked right to it. So here we are, walking right to the oil tree. Get out of the sun. And in relation to Fenn Rock, right there is Fenn Rock.
the treasure is hidden where a person would not normally go. I guess you could call that an isolated location, yeah.
Well, how about that, Cynthia?
We did it, Tom.
We did it.
We did it. Yeah, and I'm trying not to step on Forrest.
Yes.
But I think it's Jens that actually referred to this as Forrest grave. And,
Hallowed ground.
I mean, yeah, it is. It's right. It's hallowed ground.
Yes.
And I'm good with that. I'm not gonna. You and I both have tried not to step there since we got here. So I agree that I agree with Jens on that one.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, let's not desecrate this rectangle right here more than it's
exactly. Good. Well, that was some search, and
GPS
and Rudy's picture.
Rudy's picture nailed it.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
And how thrilling is that? I mean, really, I'm almost speechless. It really, I never ever would have ever dreamed that I would see this day, truly.
Yeah.
And to
So-
see it with you is just over the top.
So basically, I got into this in January of 2013. So not quite 10 full years.
Yep.
And what a ride. What a ride it has been. So finally, I mean, basically, the chronological order for me to get here basically started with Shannon sharing Jack's email. I forget now if she said a 10-mile rectangle, which was the Madison River.
Yep.
And then, once Jack on Reddit, and he's a small stretch of the Madison. Dale telling me that Jack had posted a post on his blog back in 2018 or whenever, and 7 Mile Hole to, and I think 7 Mile Bridge, to 9 Mile Hole. So then you have that. And then the final thing for me was when Jack released the unedited New Mexico tourism video, which he had way before anybody knew who he was on Reddit, but he had it. And that slip up was when Forrest Fenn, in the unedited one, you hear Forrest say, and look at the pictures and illustrations, and if your mojo is working, you might be able to find the treasure. I paraphrase, but basically, that's the first time Forrest ever said, look at the pictures. And then at the end of the video, he says to the people doing the video, making it, he said, I wish there was something I hadn't said. And I'm pretty sure, per Jack, that was when he said, look at the pictures. Because once you have Fenn Rock, all you need is 150 feet. And you are here. And that is, and Rudy had that. And once Rudy had that, well, I know he said that there's subtle hints in the book.
Yeah.
And there were very few. Yeah. As it turns out, there were hardly any.
Right.
Basically, the fact that he in love with Yellowstone, fly water, his love of fly fishing, and the picture of Marvin holding the streamer of fish at what we now call Fenn Rock. So basically, that's what was it. And wow. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, Cindy. I have been on this journey with you basically from the start. You've kept me informed and information, and it's like, wow, I never thought we'd see this day, because I never thought we'd see, actually, I knew Forrest was old, but I really wasn't expecting that to happen either. And then I really wasn't expecting anybody to find this thing. Yeah. So this is just amazing.
If it wasn't for Jack putting everything on Reddit, and then Jack, the emails to Forrest, which came out during the McCracken trial, and that's a shame that that's the way it happened, but it is the way it happened. The picture, or the email that Jack sent to Forrest when he said he retrieved it, which was June 5th and 6th, and that attachment had the 5 pictures of the chest, 2 of which came out to the public almost immediately. The other 3 made available during the McCracken trial. And that was the picture that was the wider angle that allowed Rudy to find it. I mean, the chest is in the ground. It's when Jack first found it and had just brushed the debris off the top. That picture is what allowed Rudy to find it. And then it was like, wow. Just wow. Yeah. All wow.
Oh, wow.
So
well, this is wow. This is surreal. I really am.
Yeah. Wow. But I'll tell you what, if it wasn't for the people that figured out that Jack was Condor 2 on Reddit, I mean, Jack almost put breadcrumbs out for us to find this. And then, like I said, the final picture that came out during the McCracken trial, or that Jamie posted it on Harry's. That picture is what brought it home. And Rudy. I mean, when I came to find it, there was still snow covered. I don't think I ever would have found it. I mean, my God.
Right.
But Rudy hung in there, and his 3rd day here, he did find it. Yeah. So that close up, well, the chest was there. Yeah. The first 2 pictures that were published, but it was cropped so close that all you had was the log that is obviously gone now.
Yep.
And whoever took it, more power to you. I hope you're enjoying the hell out of that log or whatever. But whatever. So, I mean, that was such a tight shot that, imagine just only having
That.
But once we had, basically straight back from Fenrock and 150 feet from the water's edge, that's when Rudy was able to just do another sweep, and that's when Rudy found it. So, here's to you, Rudy. All I have is water, but without you, none of us would have been here. So, cheers to you. Think of how Forrest grew up here.
Yes.
Such a special place to him. Him fishing with his grandfather, his father, Concy, and him. That's 3 generations. And then even Shiloh admitted coming here to fly fish with his granddad here at 9 Mile Hole. So now we're looking at 4 generations that came specifically to that spot in the river to fly fish over many, many decades.
Yep. This would be the kind of special place as a young kid that I would have gravitated to this, because this is the kind of thing that we did. We spent our time in the woods.
And and the coolest thing about where Forrest actually decided to set the chest down along the log, which is now no longer there. If I was back here as a kid, or even now, you're going to gravitate to this area. And of course, none of this new growth was there.
Correct.
10 years ago when Forrest hit it, let alone back when he was a kid. It was also different now from when he was a kid. The fires came through here. But even when he hid this in 2010, the fact that you might just migrate to this open area, and the people that said about when he said it was under a canopy of stars, and they're saying, no, it's in the shadows and in the woods. It's not. When you're sitting here and you're looking up, this is totally open here.
Yes, it is.
If it was nighttime, my butt is sitting under a canopy of stars. And thank you to Rudy for taking that video of when you walked out of when you first found it, and then you took the video walking back to the river, and that wide shot of these trees is how we found it.
Yep.
We had GPS and then it's like, holy crap, there's the dead tree, or the tree that fell over, and it looks to me like someone has put a notch in this tree probably sometime this year, or not a notch, but
a blaze.
They put a blaze there. So now when you look around, that is really easy to see from a distance. So I'm not going to say one way or the other whether or not that was good, but now that you know it's there, now that I know it's there, that really stands out. It makes it so much easier to find.
Good job.
Well, Forrest, this is it. I should have holy water. Do you think if I crossed myself or something and dumped water, that would be holy water?
Sprinkle a little bit out on
there. Yeah. I'm thinking not. We did it.
After 10 years.
10 years in the Forrest Bend treasure chest chase. We finally visited the spot today, and for me, I'm moving forward. It was a great ride. Thank you, Forrest.
Forrest, we miss you, and thank you.
Thank you, Rudy. I wasn't going to add anything more to this video, but decided to mention a few other things since this is probably my last. Hearing Forrest say he didn't want the location to be made public gnawed on my making this video at all. But I had gotten so many requests for pictures of my recent visit there, I eventually decided this was the easiest way. After 9 Mile Hole was revealed as the general location where Jack found the treasure chest, I found the poem and special place to be underwhelming. Disappointing, actually. Then I remembered Jack's words. The poem is like many of these, meaning Forrest's stories, in that it reflects his point of view and his emotions on a journey that was important to him. You really have to see the big picture. Yes, now I understand. The simplicity of the poem was pure genius. From Forrest's 2008 story in the Bozeman Daily Chronicle, titled Memories of the Past Enrich Our Present, which became the Flywater chapter in TTOTC. Forrest's love of the Firehole River, lined with its plethora of geothermal features, down to Madison Junction where those warm waters halted, merging with the Gibbon River, and continuing down Madison Canyon 4.2 miles to 9 Mile Hole to Forrest Special Place. Like Forrest stated, there was never a second choice. A couple more things before I walk away. Who knew it was legal to scatter human ashes in Yellowstone Park? If you have an inkling to do so, all you need is a special use permit. However, no monument, memorial, plaque, structure, urn, photo, or other commemorative items may be left within the boundaries of Yellowstone National Park. And last but not least, please do not desecrate 9 Mile Hole in general or the nook where Jack retrieved the chest. Here's a brief mention of the guy who caused damage at the Fort Yellowstone Cemetery with his illegal digging to find Forrest treasure. He was sentenced to 6 months in jail and over $31,000 in restitution. This quote is from Shiloh through Jack's interview in Outside Magazine. Quote, "My grandfather wanted to keep the chest location secret even after it had been found because he feared that, if the location became known, it could be ruined by the number of people who might attempt to go to the site. The location was very special to my grandfather, and the last thing he wanted was to see it destroyed, either innocently or through malicious intent." I have 100% closure now and am moving on. Thank you, Forrest, for giving me the best 10 years of my life.